You're tuned into The Money Movement, your one stop for 100% Canadian financial management content. This isn't just another podcast. This is a movement. Here's your host, Graydon Racine.
Welcome back to The Money Movement. Today we're going to be covering one of the quickest ways to make yourself richer. The no bullshit way to have more money in your pocket and less debt. I'm talking, of course, about cutting costs. Now, honestly, it seems like a simple concept, right? Well, if it was so simple, then everybody would have this massive source of disposable income. And chances are, if you're one of those people that already has a huge amount of disposable income, you're probably listening to the wrong podcast. Cutting costs is one of the most important parts of managing your finances. You simply can't get financial independence without understanding the importance of cutting costs. It's not just about cutting costs in one simple department, like lowering your insurance or stop eating out more. Every 3 months, do you hear me? Every 3 months, you should be reevaluating how you can lower the amount of money going out and definitely monitor the amount of money that's coming in, because it's the sad reality that not many people really have that consistent source of income to look forward to month after month, unless you're maybe one of those lucky few like myself who actually work on a salary basis with, thank God, paid vacation days. Now, chances are you're going to get sick. You're going to want to go on vacation. You're going to want to do all of that jazz. So you're going to miss a week of work or end up coming back to that terrible day when you're literally all of your bills are due, and you're going to end up a little bit short there. If you think, well, shit, I'm making $100,000 a year. I don't need to cut my costs. Think again. It's human nature that honestly we want to live this lavish lifestyle. And how many times do you see people making like $100,000 a year? And they end up just living lavishly, buying the house, buying all the toys. They end up having kids, go on vacation like 3 times a year just to end up consistently in debt. Now, it's actually because they're not cutting costs and they're spending way more money than is coming in. No matter how much money you're making, you need to reevaluate how much money you're spending per month, and what you're spending your money on is crucial. Now, the main sources of income that go out in the average Canadian household is obviously your utilities, your car loans, insurance, mortgage if you're lucky enough to own a house, cell phone biz, cable, internet, the list goes on and on and on. We're going to cover most of these departments, but different ways that you can really cut those costs. Now, this is insane, and I'm still shaking my head that I even did this in the first place, but I was overpaying on my car insurance for a full year and became so complacent to these massive $265 a month payments that ate up a huge amount of my payday, getting paid bi-weekly. Now, you're probably thinking like, oh, $265, that's really not that bad. The shit was for basic PDL insurance. Now, if you're not familiar with PDL, what it basically means is that if I got into an accident in my car wasn't covered. The other person was, but mine wasn't. Mine would be a write-off and that's it. So finally I had enough and started to reevaluate every single one of my bills to cut down the financial burden of this stuff. Now, lucky enough, because of the college that I actually went to for broadcasting, they offered alumni rates through TD Bank, which most colleges and universities do. So if you went to a college or university, check it out, see the price, and they might be able to give you some good deals. Now, TD Bank, through my alumni pricing, was actually able to cut down my insurance payments for the exact same coverage I had, that basic PDL with that $1 million liability, from $265 a month. I'm going to say that one more time. $265 for basic PDL down to $83 a month. Now, I managed to save $182 for making a simple phone call that literally took me 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I highly suggest calling your bank and getting a quote on your vehicle insurance as well. Check out like Allstate and Intact Insurance. Both companies ended up quoting me around like $115 a month for that PDL coverage that I was previously paying $265 for. It's simple, guys. It is simple. Just insurance is a huge thing that you can get quotes from other businesses. They want your business. So they will try and get you better deals than your current provider. Trust me, make the phone call. It takes 5 minutes. Now, just stopping at lowering one bill a month obviously was not enough for me. That amount of money, that $182, it's not going to be a huge difference. I needed more disposable income, and I need it now because, let's be honest, life is getting expensive. Inflation rates are going up. It's costing more just to buy groceries, let alone with the new stress test rules and the mortgage rates, trying to even get a mortgage. It's damn near impossible. So I needed to make more income that was disposable out of my current salary. So the other bill I had that I noticed I was paying way too much for was my phone bill. Now, I honestly, I don't mean to pick favorites here or even like bash another company by any means, but I was with Virgin Mobile. They offered me a plan at $120 a month for unlimited talk and text and 3 gigs of data. Now, see, the problem with being somebody who's always out and about and keeping busy is the fact that you don't have data everywhere you go. So many of you, like me, would typically end up going over my data, not getting a notification until all of a sudden I'm $50 over data. And I'd end up getting that additional $50 data fee, which would bring my bill basically up to roughly $170 a month, depending on how much data usage I actually had. Now, that in itself was just gross. It really I'd get sick just thinking about that extra money I was paying for something as simple as a phone. Really. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying reevaluate your costs. Just insurance and a phone alone was costing me a ridiculous amount of money. Now, again, being out and about, obviously you go over those data cycles. So it ended up bringing that $50 a month, bringing it up to that $170. Now, this, I can't get over what a waste of money that was. So the search was on for a cheaper mobile plan. Now, the first thing I realized that was the big three, TELUS, Bell, Rogers, they honestly all offered pretty similar pricing plans, just with maybe like a $10 difference. This isn't going to do it. I was like, yeah, no, $10 is not really a huge saving. So I ended up looking into Freedom Mobile, which offered that big binge bonus of unlimited talk and text and 10 gigabytes of data for $50 a month. Literally could not believe it. I was all I was thinking was,
here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
right? It sounds all great until I actually went to Freedom Mobile and I realized that the reason the plans are so cheap, like the unlimited data, the unlimited calling, the texting, it's because it's within a certain radius of their towers. So again, with how much I travel and move around, this once again was just, it wasn't going to do it. Now, one day while I was staring at social media, for once, social media came through with me or for me, like actually helped me out. An ad popped up by Rogers introducing an unlimited data, unlimited talk and text for $70. Boom. This was it. Instantly, I knew that this unlimited data, no more overages charges, none of that was literally my future. So lo and behold, I made the switch, freeing up an additional $100 a month. Honestly, sometimes it isn't just your auto insurance and mortgage or massive bills you need to reevaluate. Sometimes looking back at the simple things like your phone can free up additional income. There it was, right out the gate by switching over to two of my expenses, just my insurance and my car. It ended up freeing $282 a month, almost $300 of excess money that I could really do whatever I wanted with. I could spend it, I don't know, maybe get a new tattoo, some new supplements to crush out the gym, or actually take finance or take the fiance out on a nice date. But here's the thing. The path to financial independence isn't about saving and spending. It's about saving and investing and building your future. So as hard as it was for me not to go ball out on $300, go hit the mall, get some new tattoos, the whole 9 yards, I ended up putting that $300 away in hopes that over the course of 3 months, those savings alone would bring me to about $1,000 in savings to use rather as an emergency fund. Because if you don't have an emergency fund, that is the first misstep of financial management. You need an emergency fund. How many times does something break down on your car? Next thing you know, you're broke and you're not driving around. You need an emergency fund. They say you should have enough money in the bank and the savings to get through 3 months of your lifestyle. So say you got laid off, 3 months to get a job, you need that much money in the bank. Yes, you could collect EI, but you need even that. I've seen EI take like 2 months before they even get it in cash. If you don't have that emergency fund, you are in serious trouble. So use that $3,000 or $1,000 as a savings fund for the emergencies, or invest it into a stock that would pay dividends. Now, if you don't know what a dividend are, don't worry about it. We're going to be covering that in a stock episode a little bit later, but essentially it's a stock that pays you to have stocks and invest in that company. So, if you have $1,000 in, say, TD, and I'm just making this up, this isn't concrete, but TD does pay a dividend. I'm not 100% sure what the dividend rate is, but they would pay you a percentage of that $1,000 back, rather quarterly or annually, most of the time annually. So that's a good investment, because then your investment is actually growing you more money. Now, those are changes just from two of my expenses. There are many more savings you can get from your utilities. Maybe it's power, maybe it's gas, heat, maybe you got a mortgage, it's almost up time for your renewal and you want to get a lower interest rate or payment. Shop around at different banks. They are competitive and sometimes will match or do better than other financial institutions. The most important thing, though, and I can't stress this enough, please Stop living outside of your means. If you're broke and spending $300 a month on eating out, stop being so lazy, cook at home, and use that money to invest or save. If you're broke most of the time, but are thinking about buying a brand new vehicle, don't do it. Save the money. Continue to ride around in that beater that you own, because you can save money and buy a vehicle later when it breaks down and make your payments and debt a whole lot lighter. Now, honestly, if I can challenge you with one thing today, it's go home, get a piece of paper, and write down all of your bills and your monthly income. This includes groceries, maybe gym memberships, fuel, and even a little bit of a fun budget, because honestly, nobody wants to work their whole lives not to have a little bit of fun. So make that fun budget. It's going to make your whole journey to financial independence and saving and all that a whole lot better. The biggest thing I think I could say is call around. Spend the hour and try to find the lower cost of everything you have. Lower insurance, lower utilities, lower cable, lower mortgage, all of that. Because I guarantee you will be able to find more disposable income by cutting your costs. Cut. Do not forget to check out our website and all of our social media platforms for contests, up-to-date episodes, and tips on becoming financially independent. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Money Movement, brought to you by Next Gen Wealthy. Be sure to follow us on all your social media platforms and subscribe to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Remember, this isn't just a podcast, this is a movement.